The BMW M5 is a car like no other. First and foremost, it's a comfortable executive sedan. It's also a plug-in hybrid with 43 kilometers of electric range. It has over 700 horsepower under the hood. And you can get one as a wagon. It's a car for everyone, if you can afford it. Like the previous generation, the new BMW M5 still uses a V8 as a primary power source. It's a 4.4 liter that produces 577 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers are a little bit less than the previous generation, and this 2025 M5 has gained weight. It now tips the scales at 2,445 kilograms. That makes it heavier than this, and this, just to name a few. But the engine does get some help from an electric motor. This motor supplies an additional 194 horsepower and 207 pound-feet of torque. On its own, this motor is about as powerful as the engine in the Honda Civic Si. But even with all the weight, the M5 can accelerate at a pretty brisk pace in the electric-only drive mode. It'll keep up with traffic from a stop and drive on highways up to 140 kilometers an hour. That's about 87 miles an hour. However, when the car is in one of the sport modes, the V8 and the electric motor produce a combined output of 717 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. Despite its heavyweight status, the 2025 BMW M5 can accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in a BMW claimed 3.5 seconds and onto a top speed of 305 kilometers an hour. That is, with the optional M driver's package. In these sporty modes, the M5's acceleration is relentless. The engine picks up from almost idle RPMs and pulls right up to the rev limit of 7,200. So if you're not careful, you can easily and very quickly find yourself beyond the posted speed limits. Sadly, this engine is not as loud anymore. Due to strict government regulations, the sound coming from the exhaust is quieter than the sound that comes out of the speakers in the cabin. But thanks to the addition of the plug-in hybrid capability, the 2025 M5 is much more economical than before. That is, if you use the electric driving range more often in the city than just leaving the battery depleted. In reality, the battery is never actually depleted as some charge remains to provide peak power. But during my time with the car, I managed to average a very respectable 9.6 liters per 100 kilometers combined over roughly 330 kilometers of driving the car in the week that I had it. Officially though, it's not that efficient if you leave the battery depleted, as it is rated for 20.4 liters per 100 kilometers in a city and 13.5 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway. That battery is a lithium-ion battery pack that provides 14.8 kilowatt hours of power, and that allows the M5 to travel for up to 43 kilometers of electric-only driving. During my week with the car, I was only able to manage about 40 kilometers of electric-only driving, which is not too bad. Recharging the battery can be done from a level 2 AC charger at a rate of up to 11 kilowatts, and it'll take approximately 2.5 hours from 0% to 100%. By default, when you start the car, it'll be in the hybrid drive mode. This mode is just like any other PHEV hybrid mode, where the electric power is used as much as possible until the battery is depleted. But should you press a little bit harder on the throttle pedal, the engine will start up. In the infotainment system, you can also set it up so that the car starts up in the EV mode. In this mode, you can push the throttle pedal all the way down to the floor with the engine not starting, but if you push it past the kickdown function, then the engine will start. Once the battery is depleted, the M5 behaves like a self-charging hybrid. The engine will get the car going from a stop or to accelerate onto a highway. Then, once a bit of charge is stored in the battery, it'll shut off for a brief moment or two and let the electric motor drive it under normal driving conditions. The engine can also recharge the battery when it is in the E-control mode. In other markets, this mode can either hold the battery charge or recharge the battery to a set point. In my experience while driving in this mode, it kept the engine running at all times and recharged the battery to nearly 100%. There's also regenerative braking and a few different modes to choose from. It has minimum, medium, and maximum regen braking options. I found the medium mode to be just perfect for city traffic as it's just a little bit stronger than engine braking. Providing the bulk of the stopping force are 6-piston calipers with 410mm front discs. Those are the standard brakes, but this demo car had optional carbon ceramic brakes, which are 25 kilograms lighter than the standard brakes. They also feature slightly larger discs, 420mm on the front. In everyday driving, these brake discs do not actually need to be warmed up. They provide more than enough stopping force. On a racetrack, yes, they probably do need to be warmed up. I've never actually driven a car with carbon ceramic brakes on a racetrack, so I'm not 100% sure on that. But in everyday driving, the brake pedal is firm with just enough movement for smooth stops in city traffic. As for the handling of this new M5, with all of the extra weight of the hybrid battery pack and the electric motor, it doesn't feel as heavy as the spec sheet suggests. It has a variable steering ratio that responds quickly and precisely to the smallest of driver inputs. This, along with 1.5 degrees of rear wheel steering, make the M5 feel agile and lighter than it actually is. Additionally, the standard adaptive M suspension keeps the body roll in check and ensures that the tires are maintaining contact with the road in any driving situation. The steering, along with the adaptive suspension, can be adjusted in the infotainment screen and set to either the M1 or M2 preset buttons, along with a few other adjustments. Although the 2025 BMW M5 has the performance of a supercar, at the end of the day, it still is an executive sedan. This means that it needs to deliver a comfortable ride. I'm happy to say that it does, for the type of car that it is. Yes, the suspension is firm when compared to something like the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, but it's not an uncomfortable ride. It doesn't feel like as though the rims are driving directly on the tarmac. There is give in the suspension as each tire drives over a bump. Furthermore, the hip-hugging front seats provide ample support when you're driving enthusiastically on your favorite road, but they're soft enough when you're stuck on your long commute to work. As for noises, as I mentioned earlier, the exhaust note is not as loud as it once was, but the noise is enhanced by the stereo system, and I will admit, it does have a really nice tone. Otherwise, the cabin of the M5 is remarkably quiet. This demo car had winter tires fitted to it, but the noise that they produced did not intrude into the cabin on highways. As for vibrations, the engine is very smooth and there's almost no discernible jolt when the engine starts up from EV mode. On the inside, the M5 is not that much bigger from the previous generation. Headroom and legroom across both rows of seats remain similar between the generations. For my above average height of 6'4", there was more than enough room in the front seats and just enough in the back seats behind my driving position. Where you will notice more interior space is in the trunk. The new M5 has 466 liters of cargo space. The rear seats, of course, can be folded down 40-20-40 for more space, and of course, there's no spare wheel under the trunk floor. Actually, you can't actually lift the trunk floor at all. But should you require more space, the M5 Touring will finally make its way to Canadian shores for the first time. It has 500 liters of space behind the rear seats and 1,630 liters with the rear seats folded. Sadly, the BMW M5 is not attainable for everyone. It has a starting price of $135,000 Canadian, with this demo vehicle being equipped to a price of $160,650 Canadian. On top of that, you have to add on the taxes, dealership fees, and markups if you can't find a dealership that will honor the MSRP of the car. As you would expect for a six-figure car such as this, it comes brimmed with convenience gadgets and features, most of which are standard. It has a 4-zone automatic climate control system, heated and ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, a power trunk, Bowers & Wilkins audio system, wireless phone charging pad, standard panoramic sunroof, a full carbon fiber roof is optional just like this demo car, and an ambient lighting system with multiple colors to choose from that also react to certain functions such as turning on the hazard lights. On the outside, the new 5 Series has a very mature look, and this M5 builds upon it with an aggressive design. It has flared wheel arches, a subtle trunk spoiler, and a striking jawline to funnel air into the radiators. The car definitely has a presence, as I've noticed a lot of people, mostly men, turning their heads to grab a second look at this car. And finally, despite having over 700 horsepower, this 2025 BMW M5 is still covered just like every other BMW vehicle with a 4-year, 80,000 kilometer new vehicle warranty. In the end, the new BMW M5 is just about the perfect sedan. It's a comfortable, long-distance cruiser, it's an economical city commuter, and it'll get your heart pumping around a racetrack. It's just too bad that only a handful of people will be able to experience this car due to its high price tag. If you'd like to know more about this 2025 BMW M5, I have a more detailed written review of it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description or click on the pop-up banner in the top right corner. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.